Morning YouTube. Okay, super quick tutorial today on how I have achieved these nails. No polish here. This is purely acrylic. I've sculpted. I don't use tips, so we're using the fluid range. They're black acrylic in the range, which is just gorgeous, covered in a little bit of gold leafing and then clear. So I'm not going to go ahead and show the entire set, but I have chosen a feature now, which is my middle one here. I'm not flipping you the bird, I promise. This is just me showing you the finger. So I hope you guys enjoy. Please ask me questions. Please like my video and give it the thumbs up and share all around the world so that we can spread the word and get fluid out there. I hope you guys are fantastic. Keep watching. Bye. Okay guys, so to be able to do this nail, I have obviously got a few products that I'm going to be using today, and they're all fluid based. So I have got my fluid black acrylic powder, I have got my fluid crystal powder, which is totally clear, my fluid acid-free primer in a 15ml bottle. I'm using Cool Prep, which is my cleanser, and I've actually decanted that into a much smaller little pump bottle and obviously labelled. I find that a lot easier to use. Okay, so this is the primerless liquid that I'm using. This is my Monomer. Now this is a primer-free liquid. If you choose, you don't have to use a primer. But if you do want to use a primer, for example, if you have a client that has is very much prone to lifting, you can go ahead and use our acid-free primer. I personally prefer to use it. That's just my personal choice, and it's great to know that it's there. So I'm going to be sculpting this nail out today. These nails, please excuse them, are actually 2 weeks old, but I've had quite a few people ask me how I've actually done the design, and it's quite simple. So I thought, well, I'm just going to take one off tonight and show you. Yeah, okay, so first things first, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to get ready to sculpt my nail. I want to prep and clean my nail first. I've gone ahead and I've prepped and I've pushed my cuticles back, trimmed my shape right down, really giving that a good clean. You'll see there it started to dry out. Okay, that means that my nail is ready. Okay, opening my form. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check the size of my nail. Right, and I'm looking to see where the corner of my nails meet the form, because I just want to get my little scissors and cut a little nip in the sides just like that. Then I'm going to close the end of my form just a wee bit, and then I find by doing that it really allows the form to pop under my nail quite nicely. You can see it just slots under there quite nice. I can secure it into place. Now the angle of this form, I don't actually want the form to be too tilted down this way, and I don't want it to be too tilted high. I actually want it to be relatively straight. Okay, securing underneath. Now form placement is super important. Don't rush this step. Make sure that your form is placed perfectly before you begin. Okay, because if it's not, you're just going to have problems with the nail from then on out. So as you can see, it's tucked up under that free edge quite nicely. It's got a good shape and it's very secure. It's not going anywhere. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my fluid primer. Now I just have a little separate brush. You only need the tiniest little bit, and again, we only need to use this primer on the natural nail. Okay, if you're doing a rebalance or whatnot, this doesn't need to go onto acrylic. All right, another thing, just because it's acid-free doesn't mean that it can touch the skin. All right, so we need to make sure that we're trying our hardest for it not to make any skin contact. All right, what I'm going to do first, I've got my monomer here in my jar, my lovely fluid brush. This is a size 8 oval. So what I actually want to do first is I'm going to sculpt out my free edge, and I'm going to lay a clear base over the entire nail. Picking up a large bead, placing it. Giving it a moment or so, okay, there's no need to rush to it. If it starts to fall, that's fine, just give it a moment. I'm going to bring that back up. And of course, I want to make sure that I get this whole thing in the shot for you guys so you can see it. But that also makes it a little tricky for me to do at the same time. So I'm bringing my side walls out straight. And then I'm going to want to pinch this nail before it dries. So as you can see with fluid, it is a slower setting product. However, it allows you to really manipulate the product and work with it before it sets too fast. And that's a bonus for a lot of nail techs. It really is. So as you can see there, there's still a lot of moving going on, which is great. So that's my first bead. I'm just going to go ahead and place another bead. I don't want it too thick, just the size in the back. Push, release, give it a moment. I'm just wanting to very thinly spread that over the entire nail surface. Clear acrylic is your strongest acrylic, okay? So I think it's a great idea to put this down as a base, especially for people who are lifters. Okay, any coloured acrylics, any of your cover powders, things like that, they have been mixed. And so they've got a lot of pigment in them, and so they tend to be a little weaker. All right, so if you've got someone who's got prone issues with their nails, try and always have a base of clear go down first. It can really, really help with any of those issues. So as you can see, I've let that go down. At this stage, we're about a minute into that product being down, and it's definitely not set, but it's no longer sticky. All right, so I'm wanting to really pinch. Hopefully you can see that, because I'm wanting to achieve that really nice C curve. All right, I'm going to let that dry. Okay, whilst my finger is drying, this is what I'm using here. Now this is foil, or some people can call it gold leafing. So it's super, super thin gold sheeting. This is kind of like a mixed coppery colour tone. As you can see, it's really light and flimsy. And that's what I've used to decorate my nails. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the black acrylic down, and whilst the black acrylic is still quite wet or sticky, I then go ahead and I lay this on top, and then I cap the entire thing in clear. So knowing that I have a clear base of acrylic down at the moment, I'm then wanting to make sure that my black is super thin, and then I want to be able to cap the whole thing in clear, because as we said before, clear is super strong. So we want to get our strength from our clear. We do not get any strength whatsoever from our coloured acrylics. They're purely for colour, for decorating, for art, okay? So now this nail should be dry. Hear it tap. If it taps like that, it's nice and dry. So just be super careful when you do this, because don't forget our clear is very thin at this stage, so we can snap them. I just like to gently release them just like that from both sides and gently pull away. So we've got a good shape to start with, and obviously we'll perfect that. All right. So I'm picking up my black acrylic. Now, like I said before, we are not using this black for strength. So I am purely laying it down, and I'm almost painting it on. Do you see how careful I'm being around that cuticle? Because I need to make sure I do it perfect.
And then just drag it out over the remainder of the nail. You'll see that I tie up my brush regularly. It's really important that you guys keep your brush in very good condition. Sorry guys, just to make this perfect. Now if you need to, just use this gold stuff getting all over the place. Teeny little beads. And spread them over the entire nail surface. Again, we want to keep it thin as thin as we can. We're only using this for colour, not for strength. So we can't just paint it out. Right, I'm just going to so gently wet that surface so that I can start picking up these bits of foil.
Now see, I can just break it off with my brush. Stuck everywhere. You can see it just kind of tears apart. You know, this stuff, it's thinner than tissue paper. It's incredibly fragile, but in a great way because it means that you can really
manipulate it. See how I'm just building up these layers and it's really giving it a lot of dimension, a lot of texture and effect.
I'm going to actually start with this one on the free edge. Allow that just to sit for a moment. If I try and get my brush in there too quickly, it's going to become sticky on the end of my brush, which means it's going to be a lot harder to move around. Alright, now because I've left it, it's started to set just a wee bit, which means that it's now no longer sticky, but it is movable, moldable, pliable, if you will.
See how I can use the body of my brush and the strength that's in that part of the brush to really manipulate where I want that part to go. And see how I'm dabbing along this line here. What that's doing is it is flattening the product so I can lay another bead of acrylic over the top, and you're not going to get a line where one bead of acrylic starts and another finishes. Okay, the bead, I'm going to go right in the middle of the nail there, place, release, wipe your brush, and just leave it for a moment. Again, if we go in there too early, it's going to become sticky. Right. Push it out, blend it down. Push it out to your sides, blend it down. One thing I will say, guys, is nails is not a race. There shouldn't be a race. Now, I don't want you guys to take 4 or 5 hours, but you obviously want to do a spectacular job for your clients. Okay, with another bead here. See how I'm pushing, releasing? I'm spreading the product as far as I can. Pushing it right down these cuticles, into the sidewalls. Obviously, I want it to be super duper careful that I don't make any contact with the skin whatsoever.
Okay, so my nail is dry. I'm going to go ahead and start drilling. Now I like to use my safety drill piece. Keeps my cuticles, you know, intact.
This is my little fan. This is quite new. I'm going to do a video on this. It's really like this. Suction fan. Right.
My trusty Glaze and Go, NSI Glaze and Go top coat. A nice thin coat, we don't want it too thick obviously. And then that will go into my LED lamp for about 30 seconds. Very simple technique, but a very effective, super effective technique. And that's how I've achieved this look. Please don't mind the rest of them because they're a good couple of weeks old. But as you can see, even a few weeks old, they're still looking absolutely fantastic. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Have a brilliant afternoon. Bye-bye.